Thank you everyone for joining. We are super excited to be launching our second RevUP 12-week class. So my goal this RevUP, these next 12 weeks, is to make this one more of a group participation RevUP. I guess I just want to encourage everybody to, if you have questions, interrupt me, raise your hand or just start speaking up and let's talk about it, because this content is great. But it was designed and written on a broad level, and there's a lot of things that we can make more specific to Pierce County and King County and Washington State in general. And so in your situation, like especially today, we don't have a big group, so let's just stop me and let's talk when we have questions and we want to elaborate on things and kind of collaborate on things as well. So today, the first RevUP, the first week of RevUP is an introduction to RevUP, and then talking about goals and planning and systems. This is really about building your foundation. That's what today is about. The later meetings are going to go into prospecting and how to close on a listing appointment, all that more specific stuff. Today is all about laying your foundation and setting yourself up for future success. So as I said, this is a 12-week program. Next week, we're going to be talking about establishing your brand and developing your farm. And then, as you can see, week after week, we have lots of great content coming up. And this is going slowly. Okay, so let's jump right in. I'm going to close that. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of a positive mindset, a summary of tools that you will use, thinking like a business owner. That's so important. I'm going to elaborate on that at that moment. A resource library of recommended books, writing SMART goals, SMART being an acronym, creating a budget and expense worksheet, current productivity, time blocking for business success, personal accountability, various types of prospecting using scripts and dialogues, committing to a prospecting schedule, lead follow-up, and utilizing the GPS tool. So as always, we start out RevUP with an affirmation. I encourage you, if you go, when you hear affirmation, because it sounds cheesy and it sounds like a self-help book, I encourage you to try it. We're going to talk later about creating your own affirmations. There's a lot of power to speaking something into existence. Just having that, affirmations are all about having the proper mindset and really believing, especially if you're a newer agent and you're having that imposter syndrome, which is, a phrase I use to say that you feel like, wow, how can I convince someone to buy or sell a home with me when I'm just a new agent and I don't know anything? That mindset is going to really help you not be successful, because that mindset will, your clients that you speak with will sense that. They'll sense that you feel hesitant and they'll sense it. So that's what affirmations are really there for, there to remind you and tell yourself that you are awesome at what you do. So today's affirmation is, I am the architect of my life. I build its foundation and choose its contents. Okay, let's jump right into developing your business mindset. Okay, so what are some characteristics of a successful real estate agent? 3 prime characteristics that you see in almost every successful real estate agent is a great work ethic, an unwavering perseverance, and a positive make it happen mindset. These are all pretty self-explanatory, but let's just talk about them really quick. Great work ethic, that's talking about taking pride in your work, right? Not doing something because you have to do it, doing something because you know you are great at doing it, and having that mindset to do it. Unwavering perseverance is, this is a hard business, as we know, and this is something that you are going to go through some really hard times in this business, especially during like transactions, some really tough transactions. So it's all about
especially in this market.
Oh my gosh, especially when you're working with buyers in this market, it's so hard. So persevere and encourage your buyers that they are going to have to persevere ahead of time. It's really hard out there as a buyer. And so you need to be ready to persevere, or else your buyers are going to waver. And then positive, make it happen mindset. This is kind of what we were talking about earlier, but don't be negative. You have to be positive, because your negativity, I mean, we've all been to a coffee shop where we go there and the person ringing you up is someone who you can tell is having a bad day and they don't want to be there, and et cetera, et cetera. And it just brings down your whole experience. And with coffee, you're probably still going to buy the coffee, but it's not going to be a positive experience. So you need to leave your feelings at the door when you're talking to your clients. You know, put your client's best interest in mind, and it'll have such a more positive effect on them. See, this RevUP, I decided I'm going to do a lot less reading. I'm just going to talk more and encourage more talking. And now I'm realizing that those three things the RevUP talks about here. They elaborate here in these slides. So diligent work ethic, again, diligence, hard work, and self-discipline, being consistent with your work and sticking to your schedule. There's a note here I wanted to read that's really, that I thought was really important. Sticking to your schedule, that's talking about time blocking, which we're going to get into. We're going to talk about that a lot throughout RevUP, but I see this so often because unfortunately I see a lot of new agents come into the business and they don't treat their business like a business, and they don't schedule their business. They just do it like it's a hobby. And sorry, but the truth is those are the ones who don't make it. So when you have a job somewhere else, you have a schedule. You have to be there at this time to this time, and you have to do a certain amount of tasks, or you have to perform certain responsibilities during that time. That's how you should treat your business. Jada, who's on this call, you work full time, so you're going to have a different schedule than a lot of people who don't have that, but you still, anybody, regardless of your schedule, you still should time block certain tasks that you know have to get done. Because if you say, oh, I'm going to prospect this week, but you don't schedule when you're going to prospect, it's likely not going to happen, or it will happen, but not as successfully or as much as it should.
Hey, Isaac.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I'm working on as far as time blocking goes, I will work, but I will work. Like all of a sudden it's like 6 p.m. and I haven't eaten lunch. So
yeah.
Honestly, time blocking dinner where I put my phone down and I just walk away from it for a whole hour while I eat and watch TV with Alberto, so important. I would burn out so fast if I didn't stick to that schedule.
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about that later in the meeting, but I'm getting ahead of myself, but I specifically talk about when we dive in a little deeper with time blocking. When I time block the things I want to do first. So for example, I enjoy having mornings with my family and spending time with my little one. And then I like taking her to daycare. I enjoy that. That's part of my life. And that means, and I can't drop her off at daycare until around 9. And so I don't show up to the office till 9:30, and I'm okay with that because that's my schedule and that's what I want it to be. That doesn't mean I'm behind everybody else who started at 7 a.m. It just means I need to find the time to do the other things that I have to do later. But that's really important. I mean, you know, like Robin said, if you don't do any self-care, you're going to burn out. Unless you're superhuman, you're going to burn out. So do time block the things that you want to do and need to do, whether it's working out or making dinner or spending time with family. You need to time block that as well, and respect those times. If you have a family event tonight at 5 p.m. and you have a client who wants to see homes at 5 p.m. And the home just came on the market and it says they're reviewing offers on Sunday, you can probably wait. You can probably push it off until later in the night or early in the morning, or you can even say, post on the Facebook group and ask somebody else to show them the home and pay them to do that. So respect your time or nobody else will. Okay, so perseverance, continued and patient effort, being committed, being accountable. Great salespeople figure it out. They persevere. That one's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to elaborate too much on that. And then a positive mindset, again, we've already really talked about this. Mindset is a process, not an event. Attitude is everything. Self-talk matters. Self-talk is really going back to the affirmations. I can remember very clearly a time, it took me longer than I would like to I'd like to admit, where I would say it was probably a good year and a half starting on the business, where I did very little, like probably 3 deals my first year and a half, like one every 6 months. That's awful. Well, I'm sorry, God, I shouldn't have said that. That was awful for my goals. I underachieved according to what I wanted to do. Okay, that's what I meant to say. And I would say a huge reason was I remember clearly having some buyer phone calls, buyer meetings, seller meetings, and I wasn't confident. I didn't believe. I didn't go into the meeting thinking I am the best real estate agent for those clients. I went to it like, oh God, I hope I get this. And I can't overstate that. But and I won't. I'll just stop. Stop right there. But just believe in yourself, or nobody else will.
If you have an issue with self-talk, try to imagine whatever negative things you're saying to yourself. Imagine me saying it to you. And like, you can't, because I would never say that. So like, if you can't hear it in my voice, don't say it to yourself.
Love it. Yeah. Imagine, how about this? Imagine another vendor coming to you, a lender or a title rep or something. They're like, yeah, I'm pretty good at what I do. I think I can close the deal on time. I think I can do it. So you should hire me. I'd be like, have a great day. Like, no, think about what impresses you when other people talk to you and they want your business, and try and emulate that. This is so important. Take personal responsibility. You are 100% responsible. Yeah, we all have advantages and disadvantages. Some people are more privileged than others. That's a fact. But don't be a victim, right? If you are in a hole, not a hole, if you are at a disadvantage, that like, well, just using me as an example, because that's, it's an example I can use. When I got into real estate, I had only lived in Tacoma for 6 months. I seriously knew just about no one. And it was very easy to say, well, this is tough because I have no sphere of influence. So I can't get any leads from that. And I have to do everything on, I have to start from scratch, which most people, they get in the business and they can call their high school friends and things like that. And all my high school friends were in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Having that bad attitude is it's not going to help you. It's true. It's a fact. That was the case. I didn't know just about anyone here. But what good is like dwelling on that? That's really the whole point of this slide is, check in with yourself often, focus on what you want, be deliberate and intentional. That's kind of taking a different tack there. But the example I use is really what I want to focus on here, where it's, don't focus on the negatives. The negatives are very real. And I'm not telling you your problems aren't problems, but move on. Because if you can't move on, you're just going to dwell on your problems. And there's no good doing that. Have a client first mentality. This is really important. Your clients can tell when you walk into an appointment with them and you're just only worried about the commission, right? And you're just worried about, let's get you into a home really quick so we can close this in 30 days and I can get paid. That's not gonna work. I know that's obvious, and no one's gonna really do that. But remember, you're not looking for. You should never see a buyer as one deal. You should never see a buyer who's approved up to 400,000 at 2.5% commission. That's 10 grand commission. You should never look at a buyer and go, oh, that's $10,000. Okay, cool. No, you should look at this as a relationship that this buyer is going to buy this home. They're going to probably sell it in 4 to 5 years and they're going to list with me. They're going to buy another home. They're going to refer friends and family to me. Their kids are going to grow up and their kids are going to buy homes with me. And that is dead serious. Exactly what I see when I see a client. I see them as a golden goose that's going to keep laying golden eggs. And if you just treat them like a transaction that is in and out, that is what they'll be, in and out. And you may get $10,000 on that commission, but you're probably not going to get any more commission from them in the future. So really, really think about that. And again, it's something that if you're thinking it, they can feel it to a certain extent. So yeah, and always work in their best interests, right? If there's an inspection report and this is a really common one, right? There's an inspection report and they're freaking out about a bunch of things. You can't just say to them, stop freaking out. This is really normal. You have to address their concerns. Say, I hear what you're saying about this. Let's talk about this, but make them feel heard. You can't just push their feelings off to the side because we've seen a million inspection reports. Do the right thing and the money will flow. Honesty, integrity, and professionalism. Those all kind of speak for themselves. So the do's and don'ts of real estate. These are just some ideas. I'm going to read through them. These aren't all necessarily spot on for you in your business, but these are some things to consider. Show confidence, show concern about your customers' wants, needs, and desires. Build a rapport and find a common interest. Maintain your professionalism under stress. Be flexible and ready to learn new techniques and technology. Dress professional and be professional. It doesn't necessarily mean wear a suit every day, but don't go in sweats with your hair all messed up, right? Like, look professional, look the part. Speak and write professionally. That's, God, such a pet peeve of mine. I was a journalism major, so I take pride in how I write. It's one thing if I'm writing an email to Robin or Rachel and I'm just like, hey, really quick, can you do this? That's different. But when you're writing an offer to somebody, take your time, write the offer, be professional, tell them how great of an agent you are and how you get, you guarantee that you're going to see this through and you're going to be working with your buyer throughout the process. And when you're talking to a buyer, be professional. We are competing against so many other agents when we're getting buyers, and we're competing against so many other agents when we're writing offers. And just little ways like just being professional, calling and being courteous, it has such a tremendous effect. Coming from someone who's listed homes as well, it makes a huge difference. It makes me think I want to work with that agent. Doesn't mean I'm going to accept their offer if it's 10,000 less than the other one, but if it's close, I know that agent's going to get the job done because they assured me of that. Communicate your work hours and return all calls, text messages, emails in a timely manner within that schedule. Again, it doesn't mean you have to answer a phone call at 11 p.m. If you've explained to your clients that you are off at 9 p.m., that's fine. Just communicate that. And then first thing in the morning, make sure you do respond to them. Have your vehicle in top condition. That's something I struggle with. Use a sense. Go ahead.
I bought a car vacuum that plugs into my cigarette lighter, and it is amazing. It was like $60 and it makes my car look so good all the time.
It's such an easy thing to do, and I'm just so lazy about it.
You don't keep any plastic bags in your car. You just need to keep plastic bags specifically to grab trash.
You're right.
Babies love snacks. Like,
you're right. I know you're right. I just I struggle with that. I mean, part of the problem is we never drive clients around anymore. Like, seriously, 1 out of 20 maybe. And so it's like I have less of it's not quite as prevalent as it maybe used to be in the past. But you're right. You're right. Use a sense of humor, commit to excellence, be persistent, build trust, be positive, associate with people who are doing more than you. Love that one. I'm not sure if you guys have heard the phrase, but you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's not saying stop spending time with people who aren't successful or aren't real estate agents. I'm not saying that, but try and emulate people who are where you want to be, right? Not saying don't associate yourself if you're a new agent with other new agents. That's great, but try and be around successful agents and see what they're doing and figure out how they're doing what they're doing, right? Believe in yourself, your company, and your tools. Be honest. Listen to what your client has to say. Take a lot of notes. Show your client you can get the job done. I'm actually going to hop back into take a lot of notes. That's also something that I would say I made a mistake on at first, where I would I felt like when I was having a meeting with someone, I would just sit down and listen to them. But then I'd be like, can you remind me, did you say you needed at least 3 bedrooms, or was it 4? That sucks. I mean, normally they're happy to repeat, but like showing that you wrote down everything and you remember everything, that it shows that you really take pride in your work and that you really care about them and their time. And you're not going to ask questions twice. Okay, the don'ts. Don't put down the competition. That's so important, right? Don't talk crap about other agents. Just talk about you. Talk about why you are the best at what you do. Don't criticize the client. Don't lose your cool. Don't make excuses. Don't talk to a client in a negative tone or patronizing, right? Don't be like, oh, well, that's a dumb thing to ask for on the inspection. No, don't explain to them why maybe that won't get accepted, but don't say, don't patronize them. Don't let outside influences control you. Don't sell desperate. Again, talking about what we were talking about earlier. Don't sell them on a home like you need the commission, right? If you treat them right, you will get a commission. Just don't be desperate. Don't ask a question that they can answer no to. Don't sell desperate. That's a repeat. I guess that's really important. Don't ask a question that they can answer no to. Okay, what the heck? Those are 2 doubles. I'm going to switch this right now because this happened last time too. No, it's not letting me. Okay, I'm writing a note, so I switch this. This will not happen again.
Okay, so about the competition, Lexi and I were competing for the same listing, and we didn't know it. And then we were told it, and the seller kind of asked us like, well, like they're talking with Lexi and Lexi's talking, and we're talking with Robin. Like, what do you think about them? Like, I only had good things to say. And then it turns out that Lexi only had good things to say. And then Lexi ended up winning the listing for a bunch of other awesome reasons. But like, there's no reason to put down your competition. Like, we all shine together.
And there's so much business out there. If they chose Lexi over Robin, it's not a negative on Robin. That's because Lexi fit their needs better in their eyes, and that's
exactly
great for Lexi, and that's not a negative on you. That's something we haven't really talked about at all here in mindset. It's so easy when you lose a client or you don't get a client, like in that case, to get really down on yourself. I see it all the time with new agents where they're like, man, what did I do wrong? This is horrible. Why did they not pick me? It could have just been a better fit. It could have been, in Robin's case, Robin talked to me about this yesterday. Lexi has so much experience working with VA buyers, and this was a VA seller. And so maybe that they just connected on that. There's so many reasons they might choose it that isn't necessarily you. Okay. So don't, see what you can learn from I was about to say failure. It's not necessarily a failure, but see what you can learn when you don't get a client. But don't dwell on it, and don't take it personally. It's almost never personal. I can't think of any time a client didn't pick me that it was a personal thing. It was always something where someone else fit them better, or as I said earlier, I didn't present myself well, less so appearance wise and more so confidence wise. Don't assume. I was about to say assume, always get clarification. Don't assume, always get clarification. Don't focus on what you have done. Rather, focus on the skills and talents you have that will meet your client's need. So don't go coming in and bragging about how many deals you've done or how awesome you are. Just focus on, I guess the latter you do. Focus on why you are the best fit for them. Don't sell that you're great. Always sell why you're great. Yeah. Don't just say I'm great. Explain why you're great and what you do for your clients that separates you.
What was cool too is yesterday I congratulated Lexi on winning the listing, and she thanked me and stuff. And then she told me what she did to like impress them. And it was awesome. Like that collaboration, I learned so much from losing just because we stayed positive.
That's such a cool story. Thank you for sharing that, Robin. Visualization. This is again kind of going back to affirmation, but in this case, this is like setting up a dream board, which is number 5 on this. This is visualizing your success, visualizing where you want to be. So, I love tip number 1: listen to positive, powerful audiobooks, CDs, podcasts, etc. If you take nothing from that, then just take podcasts. There are so many amazing podcasts out there that are specifically designed for real estate agents who are trying to build a business. And then if you want to go beyond that, there's amazing podcasts out there that are about just real estate in general, or mindset in general, or creating positive habits. Some of my favorites, I'm going to pull up my phone because I'm a huge podcast guy. This is not something I'm proud of. I'm such a big podcast guy that I always have my headphone in. I'm not always listening, but I always have it in. So if I'm ever like alone, I can just press play. My 1-year-old, whenever she sees no headphone in my ear, she like goes up to me and she's like, Dada, ear. Because it's like, what's wrong with your ear? You're missing a headphone. Hilarious. That's probably not a good thing at all, but okay, some of my favorite podcasts, Darren Hardy. He's a former top 1% real estate agent in all the United States, and now he's a real estate coach. He has it's called Darren Daily on Demand, and it's literally like 3-4 minute podcast every single day that he talks. It's more about mindset, but he does relate it to real estate. Super great. It's so easy. The Mindset Mentor is a podcast that's all about mindset, and is specifically focused on entrepreneurs, which is obviously what we are. The Massive Agent Podcast by Justin Brome. He interviews other real estate agents who are being successful, and they share their tips. It's like, seriously, it's amazing. Bigger Pockets is an real estate investing podcast. It is without question my #1 favorite podcast of all time. I've literally listened to every single episode. I started listening when it was like episode 10. Now they're at like 430. Seriously, amazing. If you want to get into real estate investing yourself, or you want to help people who are investors, I highly encourage that one. The One Thing podcast is a podcast based off of one of my favorite books, The One Thing, and it's about designing a business, treating your life like a business, and focusing on one thing at a time. So good. And then Real Estate Rock Stars is another one that he also interviews real estate agents and helps them and talks about why they're being successful. Sorry, I just said those all fast. If you're watching this on record, I encourage you to rewind and pick a couple of those, start listening to. They're free, and most of them are really entertaining. Some of them can get dull, but really, really good.
There's also a bunch of audio files in One University.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, specifically about education that are great to listen to, like in your downtime or commute time.
Yep. Experience the feeling of victory, accomplishment, elation. I think this is kind of saying, don't be afraid to dwell on your accomplishments. Not dwell so much as in like talk to other people about it, but remember that feeling when you get a listing or you get a buyer, and that is freaking amazing. That feeling, you feel like you just won the lottery. Remember that feeling and let that really propel you forward. Sit comfortably and run your perfect outcome video in your head. That's, again, really talking about visualizing. Think about, before you go into a listing appointment, imagine yourself getting the listing before you get in there. It sounds cheesy. I'm telling you, I'm a firm believer that is what gave me a 180 in my business. Consider 10 to 20 minutes a day of meditation or prayer. Create a vision goal board and/or notebook, including personal as well as business goals. Use words and pictures. Somebody else is trying to get in. I'm going to let them in. Okay, moving on. So going back to affirmations, create your own affirmations. Affirmations are a powerful way to improve your mindset, most effective in the first person, present tense, and as if they've already happened. This is seriously, if you start listening to those podcasts and you pull up any successful business owner's podcast or read a book by a successful business owner, I can almost guarantee you they are going to be talking about this in every few podcasts. They're going to talk about affirmations. Almost every really successful person I know, like, really hammers this home. Just telling yourself you're a badass. That has an effect on you. So I've already talked about it, so I'm not going to belabor it, but really, really consider adding affirmations to your daily routine. These are some examples. I know my value and only work with realistic, qualified, and motivated buyers and sellers. I always put my clients' best interests first. I do the right thing by them, knowing it will come back to me tenfold. One I do, and I don't say it out loud, but it's just something I run through my head when I'm going on a meeting, on an appointment where I know I'm competing. I'm just telling myself, and again, I don't have anything written out, and I don't say it out loud, but I tell myself going in the meeting, I am the best real estate agent for these clients. I will negotiate harder, work harder, do better for them than any other real estate agent. And I believe that when I go into the meeting. All right, setting the stage for success. These are ideas. You don't necessarily need all these, right? These are just some ideas of things that you should consider investing into your business and having on hand. Laptop, an excellent camera, and/or portable tripod. I definitely don't care so much about that because I hire a photographer for everything. And hello, we all have smartphones, which now have amazing cameras. Note cards and envelopes. A good vehicle, separating business and checking saving accounts. We've talked about that in previous meetings, but really encourage you, if you don't already, have a credit card or a debit card that is only for your business expenses. That way at the end of the year, when you're doing your taxes, you don't have to go through and be like, oh, is this a business expense or not? You know it's a business expense because you only use that card for business expenses. A name tag or a one pen, stamps for mailers, smartphone with a camera. That's going back to an excellent camera and portable tripod. Business cards, internet access. Make sure you are not trying to write an offer at 9 p.m. and you have bad internet and you can't send it out and you miss the deadline. financial calculator. I mean, yes, that's all on the MLS. Personal yard and open house signs. We have open house signs that you can use, but sometimes it's nice to get one personally branded to yourself, and they're really not that expensive. They're like 50 bucks a piece. Printer, scanner, copier. We have that here at the office. You're welcome to use it anytime and at our Gig Harbor office. And then a tablet or laptop, which we already mentioned, laptop. And as Robin said, a vacuum cleaner for your car.
Honestly, I think, I don't know. Can you go back to the previous slide, Isaac?
Of course, probably. There we go. Yes, I can.
So I was thinking about it, and I think when I have an open house someday, when the pandemic is over, I think I want to have an iPad for people to check into my open house at the front door, so I can hopefully gather their information if they're not working with an agent.
I love that idea. iPads at an open house are awesome.
They'd also be really cool for virtual showings. I've been considering doing that in lieu of just trying to use my phone.
I'm actually, I just posted this online. I'm selling this right now. So iPad.
Hey, what up?
I mean, I'm not playing, but anyways, total tangent there. Know your market. Time block each day to preview active listings. Your job is to know the market and to know it well. Preview properties every day. I don't think you have to do it every day, but this is really great advice, especially if right now you're not working with a buyer. You have a key box. It's people say that you can't preview a property without having a buyer. It's not true. Unless they specifically tell you in the listing, it's just not true. You can totally preview properties as long as you schedule it properly if you don't have a buyer. But go through homes when you have some time block time to view homes and visualize yourself showing it to a client and think about what you would do. This is just, this is like doing sit-ups, right? This is just everyday stuff that you can do to improve yourself. So when you're ready, you're ready, right? When the time comes, you're ready. That's what I meant to say. Okay, we're going to talk about apps. I'm not going to really read the slides here. There's 3 slides here that talk about the Realty One Group agent app. I just want to talk about the point here of these slides, and the point is very, very important. So we as real estate agents, we all need business cards, right? You need to be able to give someone a business card when they ask for it, and you need to be able to leave it at a listing. Even though right now during COVID, we technically don't have to, that will come again. You should always have business cards. I'm not saying don't, but I am saying when the lender hands me a business card or a title person or an inspector or something, I don't keep it. I lose it. And when I need to get a hold of them, if I didn't put them in my phone number, I cannot find the business card. I'm not saying I throw it away, but I put it somewhere and it's gone. I lose it. Business cards don't really work. They work less times than they don't. I think I said that right. So what are some other options? So I'm going to talk about 2 things, and then I want Robin to talk about something that she just showed us that is so freaking cool. So there is a Realty One Group app. It is really cool because it's branded. It looks really professional. It looks nice. It looks like you paid someone to make this app for you. It has your picture on it and everything. If you do not know how to access that, actually, Robin, do you want to jump in and tell them how to access the Realty One Group personalized app for them?
Yeah, so the benefit of having your specific app over just like the generic Realty One Group app is that it's connected to the Northwest Multiples IDX feed. So all of the information is going to be accurate, so if a home is showing as pending in Zillow, it might have actually gotten bumped back to active and not pushed out yet, whereas in the one app, it will have it accurate sooner. Also, it's a closed lead capture, so even though the IDX feed is going to show, listings courtesy of Windermere, if your client clicks call to see or go to show or email agent, it's going to go directly to you. Another cool thing about this app is it's an unbroken chain. So if you are sending this app to your mom and she sends it to her favorite grocer and she sends it to her best friend at the store or something, like, you will still get all of the leads directly from that. There is a back-end dashboard that you can monitor as well to see what homes they like, what they don't. It can be really cool. The way to access your app is to download by texting 87778, and then your code is going to be the word 1, ONE, and then your name. So 1 Jada Jefferson, 1 Robin Rodriguez, 1 Isaac Schaefer. I was trying to download it the other day and I was having issues. If you have issues downloading it, please let me know and we can reach out to One Support.
So thank you, Robin, for saying that. So again, just to repeat what Robin's saying, the idea why this is so much better than the business card. Number one, you can't send it to somebody without sending it to them. So when you give someone a business card, you're giving them something, they're not giving you anything. So you can't call them because they didn't give you a business card. And if they don't call you, you've lost them, they're gone. You have no way to contact them. So if I say, Robin, it was so great to meet you today at this open house. I'm going to send you this app, which will give you information on new homes that hit the market that are similar to this one, and it will allow you to be able to contact me anytime. What's your phone number? And who was the one? Someone told me this. Maybe it was on a podcast. But they said, just look at. Don't even look at them. Be looking at your phone, because if you look at that, you're not giving them an out. I thought that was a funny piece of advice. But they give you their number, and then you send them the app, and now you have their contact information. So now you hold the keys, and you can take control. So anyways, the Realty One Group app is nice, and it's a good first touch. It looks professional. It looks nice. Full disclosure, I don't think it's the most functional app, but it's definitely the best for like branding yourself. It looks very professional, right? If you send someone the Redfin app, it's like, that does you no good, right? Even though the Redfin app, I hate to say it, is very good for home search functionality, that doesn't do you any good. That can push them to Redfin. So just something to think about. So triggering off of that, when you do get a client to be your client, especially a buyer, I really encourage you to convert them to the Home Spotter. I always mix up which one. The Home Spotter app. And the reason you should try and do the Home Spotter app, first off, let me share really quick so we can, hopefully you guys can see my screen. So first off, it is branded to me, right? And so it does look professional, even though it's not like our office colors and everything. It is branded to me, but this is what makes it so important. We all have to use the MLS. The MLS is oxygen in this business, right? We have to use the MLS for searches. And so we're sending our clients homes via the MLS, where they're liking homes on the MLS, and then we can see if they liked it. That all translates to this app. It doesn't translate to the Realty One Group app. So once you have an active buyer, you want to convert them to this app. And this app is also really cool. It's up to date within like 20 minutes of a home hitting the market. If they see a home that they like, they can favorite it, and then I'll get an alert on my phone. Hey, your client just favorited this. It's all intertwined with the MLS. So just, if it's a first touch, maybe consider using the Realty One Group app because it looks so professional. But when you get them as a client, convert them over to the Home Spotter app. And I've gone back and forth on this. Now I'm like 100%. It is the best app when you're working with a client. So lastly, Robin, do you want to talk about Popple? I think this is so stinking cool. Robin just got this. Do you want me to share your screen, or do you want to just show your screen? How do you want to do it?
I actually sent you the link, so if you want to just open it, I texted
I didn't
it.
notice that. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, let me share my screen.
We've all been in that situation where we miss a great opportunity to connect with someone.
Let me start up.
Maybe they typed their number in wrong.
Could you guys hear that?
Mm-hmm.
And see that? Okay, cool.
We've all been in that situation where we miss a great opportunity to connect with someone. Maybe they typed their number in wrong. Maybe it was too loud. Or maybe you just straight up lost their business card. I'd like to introduce Popple. This small circle on the back of your phone is the fastest way to connect with anyone you meet. With Popple, these missed opportunities are eliminated, and I guarantee your social life and networking will improve. I'm going to show you how it works right now. So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on the screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. With our feature called Popple Direct, you can pop one of your links directly. Watch this. I turn direct on for Instagram. Now when I pop someone's phone, it opens directly to my Instagram instead of my profile. So get to your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Remember, you only get one first impression. Make it pop.
Make it pop. Love it. I think it's so cool. I really appreciate you showing us that, Robin. How much was it? Can you remind me?
Okay, so I have discount codes now because I already bought one, but my first one was $20, and all it does is it sends you this little tiny chip in the mail, and you stick it to the top of your phone for a second so it pairs to your phone, and then you download the Popple app. And in my app specifically, I've got my logo, I've got my handle, I've got my little tiny bio, and then I've got a couple different. So he talked about social media. You can actually, I have my phone number, my LinkedIn, my Instagram, my email, my Facebook, text message, my office address, my contact card, my website, and my link tree on my Popple. So when I take the back of my phone and pop it to someone else, it opens a browser window in their phone, and then they can access any way to contact me that they want. I like it because it feels super multi-generational. Like, millennials can be really skittish home buyers. They get really nervous about these major purchases. Sometimes the easiest way to build trust with them is through Instagram before you get them as a client. You know, sometimes other clients, they don't want to find you on Facebook. They want to call you right now. So you can send over all of that information. They don't have to have any apps or anything. Super easy, super fast. Isaac and I tried it. It worked. I've done it with Alberto, done it with a couple of neighbors. It's been awesome. So now what I've done is I've actually bought 3 more little Popples, and they're coming to my house. I'm going to pair them to my app and my phone, and then I'm going to give one to my boyfriend, my best friend, and her boyfriend. And then they are going to pop my contact and business information to anyone they meet that's interested in buying or selling real estate.
Okay, that just blew my mind. That was next level smart. I did not.
It was, with the discount, I think it was $25, and I got 3 of them.
That is so smart.
The ROI is like within half of one transaction.
Oh yeah, it's a fraction. Wow, that is so brilliant. I hadn't even thought of that. But yeah, no, I mean, you're totally right. It's just like, that's not asking for a phone number. That's so simple. And like you said, like, you don't have to tell them your Instagram handle. They can just click on it. It's such a great idea. It's such a small price. So maybe in the notes following this email when we send out the recording, following this meeting when we send out the recording, maybe you can have a link to that, Robin.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Cool.
Or Rachel can.
That's right. Has everyone met Rachel, by the way? Probably not. Rachel is our newest employee. We're super stoked to have her. She's at our Gig Harbor office mainly, but she works obviously for our whole team here. We're really happy to have Rachel, but she's kind of taking over on more of the agent resource stuff while Robin's going to continue handling marketing. But anyways, we're happy to have you with us, Rachel.
Oh, thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about identifying your strengths. So list your past jobs and the role for which you were hired. List the activities you performed that you enjoyed the most. List the activities you performed that you enjoyed the least. Are there any patterns? The whole point of this slide is talking about finding out what your niche is. That doesn't mean you don't need to pick a specific niche that is like, okay, I really am good helping buyers, and be like, I'm not going to help sellers. But that can help you really focus on what you do best. This also really helps you with finding out what you need to outsource. And I think I'm getting ahead of my slides, but that's fine. We'll skip later slides if I talk about it already. But if you are someone who's really good at selling, you love marketing, you love networking, but you hate paperwork, you should really consider hiring a transaction coordinator. Like, that's a no-brainer. It costs $200 to $300 per transaction. It's a no-brainer. And then you can just write an offer when you're done. When you get your offer accepted, you send it to the transaction coordinator and you're done. If you have questions about our in-house transaction coordinator, let us know. It's a really small cost, and that's an easy thing to outsource it. You don't need to hire an employee to do. You just hire it as you need it. Super awesome, and that's a no-brainer. But I'm sure you can think of many other things. So I really encourage you, I think that's what this next one does. Yeah, so this is like a worksheet. So I encourage you to write down jobs that you've had, write down the activities you enjoyed and the activities you didn't enjoy, and write down also what you were good at, right? I know that I'm good at, I was a good manager at Starbucks, and I was good at coaching people and teaching people how to do things. I really enjoyed that too. I hated scheduling when I was manager. God, it was horrible. But write down what you like and what you don't like, and what you're good at and what you're not good at, and consider focusing your business around the things that you like to do and what you're good at doing, and either just ignoring the things you don't like to do. Like I was just talking to Jada last week, and I say this to all new agents: don't door knock if you hate door knocking. If you hate door knocking, don't do it. There's so many other ways to get business. And that's kind of the point of this exercise, is to find out what you enjoy doing, because then you'll be working, but it won't feel so much like working. Like Robin has gotten, correct me if I'm wrong, Robin, all of your business so far has been from social media. Robin loves social media, and while it's work, I bet it doesn't feel nearly as much like work as it would to be calling cancel and expired listings. Would you agree with that, Robin?
Totally. So I have, let me see here. I gotta stand up. So I have one friend that I'm referring out. I have another friend I'm referring out. I have a buyer that is my own friend. And then I have a lead I found from a Facebook group of buy, sell, trade, ask. And then I have a referral I have 3 referrals from Realty One group agents across the country that I found on Facebook.
All from social media. And that's what Robin loves, and doesn't feel so much like work. Even though it is work, it's not easy. I'm not saying what she's doing is cheating or easy. It's just she's focusing on what she does best, and not focusing on the things that, you listen to those podcasts I talk about, and a lot of them are going to talk about, all I do is I call for sale by owner, and that's how I get all my listings. If you don't want to call for sale by owner, don't call for sale by owner. Focus on what you like to do and what you're good at doing. And then if there's things, again, like paperwork, you have to do that. Consider outsourcing that. There's other things too. If you hate social media, there are people out there who will literally manage your social media page for you. I'm not encouraging that. I'm just saying that that's a thing that you can actually outsource something like that, because social media is such an important part of this job. You shouldn't not do it, but maybe you should outsource it if you don't like it. Raising my hand. I hate doing social media. I just do it anyways, but I don't like doing it.
I won't cold call. I won't. I hate it. I hate it so much. So why would I spend time cold calling and not selling myself accurately when I can just find someone on Facebook and then message them directly and then get a lead from it?
We already talked about that last slide, so I skipped it. Run your business like a business. This is one of my favorite slides of the whole. Week 1, begin with the end in mind. Are you here because you're serious about building a successful business and creating a valued asset? Do you want a business you can sell or pass down? Are you here to just earn some extra money? None of these things are bad things or better things or worse things. But what I want you guys to do is go spend some time in the next week thinking about what you want your business to look like in 5 years. Maybe even less. I really struggle looking 5 years out. A lot of people say look 10 years out. I can't do that. That's just, I don't think that far. I like to think about where am I going to be in 2 years and maybe 1 year. And then I want to design my business now preparing for that, right? So set up systems like a business, right? Right now you may be at the point where you're doing everything yourself, but consider making systems so you can get to the point where you can outsource social media or outsource anything else, right? And somebody raised their hand, I don't know who, but go ahead and unmute.
Craig, this would be Craig Tuttle. I'm the newbie.
Hi, newbie.
Yeah. I was just thinking, when you talk about planning out, I'm probably one of the worst planners, but here's the thing you've got to keep in mind on farming is that if you're planning to have a farm, you're going to be doing that for years to come is the way it works. So in my opinion, make sure that especially if you're starting out your farming, something that is going to sell all the time in any market. So, 3 beds, 1,100 square feet or greater, owner occupant, because chances are non-owner occupant investors have their own broker, and then look at in an area and say, I don't want to go above 400,000 assessed value. And you should be able to minimize it to where you're not broadcasting too big of a net, spending too much money, and then it works no matter what the market is. So I wanted to chime in on that as far as something that is, like you said, 5-10 years out. That'd be the only thing that comes to mind, that like the timeout.
No, it's a great piece of advice. There's actually I think it's week 4 or 5. The whole meeting is about farming and how to be successful with farming. But it's such a great thing to mention here, where A mistake that a lot of real estate agents make is what Craig means by farming, in case you don't know, is finding a geographical area or a social area, for example, people who all go to the same gym as you or something like that, and then marketing to those people on a consistent basis via postcards or social media marketing or something. And something Craig's saying is you can't, a mistake a lot of people make is they do it for a month or 2 or 3 and they're like, oh, I didn't get any leads from it. Screw this, I'm done. But what they don't know is they were really a few inches from gold, right? There's a story about that where somebody, just stopped digging. They bought property because they found gold and they started digging and they dug for 3 months. They couldn't find anything. And so then they sold the lot for less than they bought it for. And the person who bought it dug just a foot further and there was gold. Cheesy story, but that's you really have to think that way when it comes to marketing. It is not a quick game. It's a long-term game. You're planting seeds, and it's going to take a while for those seeds to sprout even, and then it's going to take even longer for those seeds to turn into something that you can harvest. So excuse the cheesy analogies, but Craig's totally right. Like, think about your business and plan for the long term. So one more thing about that. If you say, well, I can afford $250 a month for farming, okay? Make sure you can afford 250, I'm pulling out my calculator, 250 times 12, because you want to do it for at least 12 months. And so that's $3,000 a year. So can you do it for can you afford $3,000 a year? If so, great, then do it and set that money aside and stick to it. Don't ever miss a month. Is that kind of what you were saying, Craig? Do you agree with any of that, all of that?
Right.
Awesome.
Right, and that was a good one. If you go back and look at it, they talk about Corfac, they talk about the title company's farming tools, and they can help you. You know, a lot of people think, well, I got to lean on Rob, and she has the answer to everything. I mean, she does have a lot of answers, but the reality is, lean on your title company. Make sure, though, that again, when business planning, that you're choosing a title company to use their farming tool, that's the one that you plan on using long term, because they kind of have you once you're into their product. So different things with farming to think about, because once you do it, you don't want to start over again. It'll cost you a ton. You might get frustrated and then just stop farming.
Yep, absolutely. So again, yeah, that I can't remember exactly what week that is, but we're now starting back at week 1 here, so it's going to be coming up. But if you want to watch it sooner, just look back on the RevUP past weeks and look for the farming one, because we talk there's so many great tips there about different programs you can use for farming and utilizing your title company and how affordable it is. Okay, so next slide on running your business like a business. Have a written business plan. Create clearly defined, vibrant written goals in all areas of life. Measure and track your results. Use personal and business budgets. Okay, so let's just talk about each item here. I want to make sure the next slide doesn't elaborate. No, it doesn't. Okay, good. Okay, so each item here, write a business plan. Don't think about a business plan. Don't be like, yeah, I want to make $100,000 this year. Write it down. The power of writing it down, it's huge. It can't be overstated. Write down your business plan. And I think our next meeting is all about writing a business plan. So stay tuned for that one next Thursday. Be clear and specific. We talk about that later in this meeting. So I'm actually going to kind of skip that for now, but yeah, I'm going to skip that. Same with section 3, measure and track your results. That's also later in this meeting. And then use personal and business budgets. This is so important. Again, going back to farming, budget it out so that you can do it for a full year. Budget out all your expenses for real estate so that you know that you can afford everything and you're not caught with the MLS saying, hey, you owe $220 or whatever it is every other year, and you're not surprised by that. Budgeting is so important. Build your team and your company. This is one way I feel like I have really provided amazing value for my clients, and it's so easy to do this. These are all examples: having a lender, title companies, home inspection, home warranty, home repair, contractors, electricians, plumbers, etc. Have a list of all of these people that you like to refer. So when you have a client who calls and says, hey, I need an electrician, you're not like, Google it. You say, I've got an electrician. And even if you haven't used the electrician personally, you can say, this guy was referred to me by my designated broker. And I say that because if you are looking to make this list for yourself, give me a call. I have people for most of these who I highly recommend. break. We're not going to take a break. We're jumping right in. Okay, here we go. Talking about the goals. This is why I didn't want to elaborate on that last slide. Goals should be SMART, as in the acronym: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Okay, this is really easy to understand. Specific meaning you can't say, I want to make good money this year, right? You have to say how much money you want to make this year. Measurable meaning that's kind of along the lines of specific, where you're saying exactly what constitutes a successful goal. It has to equal this, right? So again, going down to that number thing, if my goal is $110,000 this year, then I know if I failed or I succeeded, period. Attainable, you don't want to, I'm not saying lower your expectations, but let's be reasonable, right? If this is your first year in a business, maybe don't have a goal of making $500,000 in your first year net. That would probably be historical if you did that. So just, keep it, make sure it's out there, somewhere, something that is something you have to reach for and push for, but don't, make sure it's attainable. Relevant, that one's kind of self-explanatory, right? You want to make sure it's relevant to real estate. This says, does it align with your values and larger long-term goals? Will it move you and your business in the direction you want to go? If it doesn't contribute to your broader objectives, you might rethink it. And timely, this is just like measurable. It has to be in a certain amount of time, right? If you just say, I want to make $100,000 and you don't say by when, you're probably going to achieve that goal, but it might take you 5 years. So you want to, again, make your goal very easy to track and know if you succeeded. That's the whole point of this. So let's look at the big picture here. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? These are the questions you should be considering. If you got the example they use is if you got dropped in the middle of the Sahara Desert and they said you have to get from where you are now to here, and they give you a map and a compass, what's the first question you're going to ask? Well, where am I on the map? So that's the purpose of this slide, is to make you think, assess where you are right now. Are you where you want to be? Probably not, because if you are, you probably you wouldn't be talking with us here, and you wouldn't be before we talk about our goals, we want to talk about where we are currently. Okay, so this is these are some handouts that I apologize, I should have sent ahead of the meeting, but we'll send it in the recap. But this is how you can figure out, this will help you determine what your goal should be this year. So to determine your annual income goal for real estate, complete the following: your personal expenses on an annual basis. So this is, if you don't have time right now to go through your whole budget, come up with a rough number, right? So covering your house payment, your car payment, your groceries, and so on. So let's say it's $40,000. I'm just writing random numbers to show you guys how easy it is to determine an achievable goal here. How much money do you want to spend this year on vacation and or travel? Let's say $5,000. What do you want your annual savings to be? Let's say $10,000. Projected business expenses. This is where you want to put, your Northwest MLS fees, your Realty One Group $100 a month, and so on. And I have no idea what that is. I'm sorry, I'm just going to be totally random here. $5,000, let's say. Desired that's also where you put farming, right? So $5,000 plus, let's say $3,000 for farming. Desired annual profit on top of all this, say $20,000. I'm getting somewhere with this, so bear with me. Okay, so what is the total income from all that? That is, what I just wrote down is 83,000. Okay, 83,000. Now we want to figure out what the taxes are going to be. This is not tax advice, so talk to your tax professional or do the math. But this is saying, let's say 25%. So you want to go. Sorry, I'm doing the math really quick. So $83,000, and we are going to multiply that by 1.25. They're telling you to do it differently. This is how I do it. So we add taxes on top of that. And so now my income goal is 103,750. So let's round up to 105. That was just a quick exercise. I encourage you guys to do it yourself, but the idea is don't just throw a random number. It happens all the time where somebody gets in the business and they say, my goal is 12 transactions. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Where do you come up with that number? And they're like, there's 12 months in the year and I can do one a month. Okay, but does that actually cover your expenses? And then they're like, probably. The whole point of this exercise is to, sorry, I just got an alert. Okay, the whole point of this exercise is to really be specific about your goal and know what you need. And you can set your goal higher, right? Just because my goal here that I just came up with my random numbers is 105, that doesn't mean my goal can't be 150, but now I know I need 105. That's your floor, essentially. Okay, and this is talking about breaking that into transactions. So what is the average sale price in my area? Let's say 450. Again, I'm being random here. This is not well thought out. What is the average commission per side? I would say we are well past 3%, and we are now very lucky if we get 3%. So I'm going to say 2.5%. So that's 11,250 per transaction. What is the average commission? Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying what's the average commission per side? That's 2.5%. What is the average commission per sale? That's 11,250. How much money do I intend to earn? And we just said 105, right? 105,000. So how many transactions do I need to close this year? I'm typing in 105,000 divided by the 11,250 equals 9.33 transactions. And we're going to round up to 10, which I didn't mean to do, but that's kind of cool how that works out. But you can see how that goal is so much more important than coming in and saying, I'm going to do 10 transactions this year. Now I know I need to do 10 transactions this year to hit my goal. I hope that was helpful. If you want to schedule a sit down with me to really kind of focus on your numbers, I'd be happy to do that. But I've done this for myself, and I redo it every year with my wife. We talk about this for all our streams of income, and we're just very specific about it. And then it also makes it so you can also go, well, I need to do 10 transactions a month, divide that by 12 months. I need to essentially do 0.83 per month, which you can then break into, individual goals, right? You can start tracking your progress throughout the year and know if you're on pace. That's kind of the point I want to get to there. Okay, I love this exercise. So what is your time worth? So our desired annual income was 105,000. Divide your income goal by 52 weeks in the year. Divide that weekly goal by numbers of days worked per week. So let's say 5, that's kind of unrealistic in this business, but let's say 5 just for the sake of argument. And then divide by numbers of hours working in real estate daily. Let's say you work 7 hours a day, divided by 7. So that means, using those totally hypothetical numbers, I'm not sure if you can see my phone, I am worth, using these numbers, $57.69 an hour. Why is this number important? Really, really simple. I keep talking about transaction coordination because it's such an applicable, easy example to use. But if it takes me 6 hours to do, or 8 hours to do all the stuff that a transaction coordinator will do, that means it's costing me 8 times 57.69, which is $461 per transaction to do what a transaction coordinator does for $300. That's just an easy example. That's why I'm using that. I'm not trying to push you to use a transaction coordinator. If you don't need one, don't use it. But I just can't overstate the importance of knowing what you're worth. So then you can think, why am I tripping over a penny to get to a dime? Why am I not hiring someone to do work that I don't like to do and that I can pay someone $15 an hour to do? Even little things like if you're spending an hour a day mowing your lawn, you hate mowing your lawn. I'm sorry, an hour a week mowing your lawn in summer, and you hate mowing your lawn. And if you weren't mowing your lawn, you'd be spending time doing something productive. Maybe you should consider paying a kid $20 an hour to do that, right? Just an idea. Check child labor laws before you do that. Just kidding. It's really awkward when everyone's on mute and I tell a joke and I'm the only one laughing. And Anyways,
I'm laughing.
I assume that you're all laughing. Okay, that's in my head. That's what's happening here. Okay, current productivity. What does your week consist of? Efficient, organized, and highly. Are you efficient, organized, and highly productive, or are you scattered, disorganized, and wasting time? What are revenue producing versus supportive activities? Are you doing, are your days full of activities that lead directly to income, i.e. networking, showing homes, etc.? Or are you spending most of your days checking emails and focusing on other people's problems before you're focusing on your problems? The whole point of this slide is to have a moment of reflection and really think about where your time is going. We have all this time in the week, and for some reason we all feel so busy we have no time. Well, have some self-reflection and really think about where this time is going. Are you spending too much time saying you're working and you're actually just scrolling through Facebook? Again, Robin's probably rolling her eyes at that one because she's gotten so much business.
No, seriously, time blocking and productivity, like I used to call it the Wikipedia hole, but now it's probably closer to like doom scrolling. If I don't set aside time specifically to reach out to my specific contacts, my specific groups of potential buyers, potential sellers, I will just look at people's babies and kitties and read the news, and just all of a sudden 2 hours has passed, and that's not good.
Yep, absolutely. Just self-reflect and try and find out where your time is going. And I'm not saying that you're all wasting time. You're probably not, but I'm pretty confident we're all wasting some time, and we can all find things that we can cut out. It's like when you do a budget and you start looking at your past expenses and you're like, holy cow, I spent how much money going out to dinner? Which is a bad example right now during COVID, but I spent how much money on Uber Eats? You don't realize it when you're, buying dinner every few nights on Uber Eats. But then when you look at the past month and you're like, oh my God, I spent $1,000 doing that. That's really helpful to know, and it helps you with going forward. And that's really what I'm talking about here is before we talk about time blocking, which I'm about to talk about, reflect on where you're seeing time slip away and see how you can cut that. So let's talk. So the concept of time blocking, we've already talked about this. It's treating your business like a business. It is blocking the important things, which is not just business important things. Like I mentioned earlier, it's important for me to drop my kid off at daycare every morning, which is why I don't show up till the office until 9:30. That's important. I block that off. If somebody tries to schedule something for 8:30, with few exceptions, I say I'll be available at 9:30. That's really important. Focus on only one activity for a block of time. That's should be obvious, but you're not. If you have time block time for prospecting, that's not prospecting and catching up on email. I'm not even going to talk more about that. That should be obvious. Schedule time off before time on. That again is what we've already talked about. Schedule important things like working out and being healthy and spending time with the family. Those are more important than your business, and those will also replenish you. So when you are focusing on your business, you're ready to roll. Block time with goals in mind. Exactly. So do your goals first before you do your schedule, because you need to know. I'm going to just stop there. I think that makes sense. Time management. You are your own boss. A schedule creates freedom. A calendar is key to your success. Just quick notes on these 3 lines. You are your own boss, meaning nobody else is telling you to work. Nobody else is telling you to prospect. I'm the designated broker here. I'm not your boss. And if you don't prospect and you don't do any deals this year, I'm going to try and help you do deals and help you, but I can't make you do it. And I'm not going to tell you you have to do it. That's not, you're an independent contractor. You're not an employee. So it's really important to know that and know how easy it is to slip into, you've got nobody telling you to do something. So you have to be the boss and you have to hold yourself accountable. And a schedule helps you do that. And it actually creates freedom. I'm a big self-finance guy. I try and teach people a little bit on how to be better at finances. And most people, when I talk about a budget to them, they're like, oh God, a budget, that sounds like shackles, right? That sounds like a chore, something I have to do. And I don't want to be tied down to a budget. Well, the truth is when you set a budget and you realize, okay, I've got this much money to spend on groceries, and I have this much money to spend on going out, and I have this much money to spend on me, fun, whatever it is, taking a massage or going golfing, whatever that may be for you, it actually gives you freedom. So then when you go golfing twice a month, you're like, I know I can afford it because I already budgeted it. That's the same as a schedule, is when you then spend every afternoon at 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. going for a walk on Ruston Way, you don't have to feel bad about it because that's important to you and you already scheduled it and you know you're going to do everything else that you set on your schedule. So that's kind of the key of that. This is an example time blocking schedule. I don't know that we really have to look at this. This is just kind of some ideas. Again, if you want to talk about this more in depth and more personal to you, feel free to schedule a meeting with me. I'd be happy to kind of give you some ideas. Plan your work, work your plan. Get help with staying committed. Consider getting an accountability partner. That's someone who is an accountability partner. To me, would be somebody who is close enough to you that you feel comfortable telling them almost everything, but not so close to you that they will give you an out. So in my opinion, my spouse is not a good accountability partner because she is a very loving, sweet person who, if I say, oh my gosh, I didn't do what I said I was going to do this week, she's gonna be like, it's okay, but you work so hard and you're trying really hard and you're doing great. I don't need that. She can keep doing that. She can do that and that's great. But I want somebody as an accountability partner who's going to say, well, why didn't you do it? Not be harsh, but why didn't you do it? Let's talk about it and figure out how this week you can be successful. Accountability tools. Let me check the notes. I don't know what they mean by accountability tools, so I'm going to skip it. Coaches, this is something to consider looking into. There's free coaches out there, right? You can always call me and we can talk about these things. You can also go on the podcast, like I talked about, and listen to real life people who are doing it and let them be your coach, even though it's not specific to you. It really is. Or you can consider hiring a coach. If you want to do that, let me know. I have some suggestions on who I've heard great things about as far as real estate coaches go. And then mentors, this is more about like surrounding yourself around people who are where you want to be. And so consider talking to somebody and offering to do free work for them. Maybe say, hey, I'll show homes for you in return. Will you mentor me and show me how you're being successful? That's a random example. I'm not saying you have to do that, but that's an idea. That's one way that you can get a mentor for free, which a mentor is like a coach. All it costs you is a little bit of time. I was reviewing these slides obviously before the meeting. I don't know why they really added this slide, because there's like 2 whole meetings about prospecting. So I'm really not going to go into this too much, but I think it's because of the progression here. We've talked about goal setting. We've talked about making a schedule. And now the next step really is creating your business plan and making where are my leads going to come from? But again, I don't want to belabor this too much because it's such a can of worms, and we are going to go into a whole meeting about this. But these are just some ideas of ways you can get business. And it's a good idea to make one of these charts for yourself. And the idea is here are the types of, here your inner circle are the people you can really count on. And then you've got other networking areas that are more warm leads, but not necessarily hot leads, like these past clients, friends, and family. And the outer circle are cold leads, where there are buyers and sellers, but they don't know you. Okay, so that's kind of the idea here. But again, I'm going to skip this for now because we're going to talk about this in later weeks. When you are prospecting, this is a simple, first off, scripts are awesome. There's tons of scripts on One University and online and in those podcasts I was telling you about. But if you want a simple script for when you're calling potential clients, or just calling to check in with people and see how they're doing, this is just an easy one to remember. Forward, family. How's your family? How are you doing? How's your job, occupation? What are you doing for fun? What are your hobbies? That's recreation. And then D is dreams. What's up next? Like what's on the horizon for you guys? Practice, practice, practice. When it comes to scripts, you're not going to be great when you start out. So don't be afraid to find that accountability partner, or someone who's maybe at your level, and practice back and forth. And then oh my gosh, you'll feel so much more comfortable when you actually do make the calls. The calls can be very uncomfortable at first.
I have totally parroted myself, like looked in a mirror and said what I thought I wanted to say to someone else to practice. And like watching myself, like you have to learn how to control the tension in your eyebrows and how to not smile like a maniac and how to sound confident. I don't know, parroting helps.
Find what works for you, but yeah, definitely practice, look at yourself in the mirror, whatever it takes to get yourself pumped up. This is an idea for a prospecting schedule. They're saying schedule 3 hours a day for prospecting if you can. And they literally say your first hour should be preparing. I think that's overkill, but maybe starting out, maybe you do need the first hour to prepare. Get yourself pumped up, because if you just make a cold call right off the bat, it's going to be tough, man. You're going to, and you're also probably going to push it off. If you're going to start prospecting at 9 a.m. and your first to-do list is to call a canceled and expired listing, good luck. You're probably going to find out that you're not going to do it till 11 and maybe just skip it till next day. So start with the preparation. Hour 2, prospect, make the phone calls, and then hour 3 is follow-up. Though that's where you're going to follow up with people who you're taking notes, and you're writing down and following up with from your conversation. I would throw hour 2 and 3 together. I have a phone call with somebody, and then right then when I get off the phone, I write down my notes from the conversation and I schedule my next contact. So I do 2 and 3 at the same time while it's fresh in my head. I have a phone call with Robin. I ask how she's doing. She tells me they're okay, but she's having emergency tooth surgery and just really busy right now. Okay, perfect. I'm going to call her back in 2 weeks or 1 week and say, how'd the surgery go? And I'm going to put it on my calendar and I'm going to put it in my CRM. That's a really dumb example. Sorry. I just came up with that off the top of my head.
Thankfully, my teeth are fine.
Yes. Okay, that's it for today, guys. As always, we end RevUp with the one habit. This is an example of a habit that you can create. You can make it more or less or change it a little bit to meet your business and your goals. But the idea is, at a minimum, I am going to make 3 calls, add 3 people to my database, and send out 6 handwritten notes. If you can't do handwritten notes, and at least emails or texts to clients every single day. And I have my own one habit. It's not exactly this, but I can tell you almost without fail, except for certain, like when I had COVID last month, I wasn't doing this consistently, but almost every business day, I do my one habit every single day. And if it's 9 p.m. and I'm ready to call it a day and I haven't done it, that's just my standard. I'm not going to go to bed until I do that. So that's what I encourage you guys to do. Make your own one habit and stick to it every single day. All right, guys, thank you for coming. I hope that was helpful. As always, feel free to reach out if you'd like to elaborate on some of this and kind of talk about it in a bit more detail.
That was so good. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you guys attending.
All righty. Have a great day, everybody.
All right. Take care, everyone.